Peace to the room. Welcome to my space. I'm just Eve. Well, I guess I'm his Eve. And tonight I have some thoughts. I don't know if you can hear me, but if you can, okay, I appreciate that. Thank you to the room. Thank you to listeners. Ah, this weekend. This weekend's been interesting, hasn't it? Um, I don't know what y'all been doing, but Friday we celebrated warrior scholar Khalid Muhammad, and it was his birthday. And I just want to remind everybody that it's okay to be bold. At least that's the message that I always got from him when I would hear him speak. I never heard any cowardice. I never heard him cowering or being afraid of speaking truth to power, of being on the right side of things, or anything. I'd heard him speak about organizing and justice and truth and righteousness and principles that we used to know, but I feel like we've been slowly removed from those things. And in a big way, I feel like resources are dangled over our heads every day, and then we have to make conscious decisions about where we are and where we're going this weekend. Man, so shout out to the warrior scholar Khalid Muhammad, which whom our baby Micah, his parents named him after warrior scholar Khalid Muhammad. And I just want to remind you guys that Micah's parents are still fighting for justice for him being murdered by Texas Children's Hospital. And should you feel so inclined to help them fight that fight, uh, we're not millionaires yet, right? We haven't gotten reparations. There has been zero reparative justice, and people who have platforms that are way bigger than mine are not necessarily speaking like how maybe they should be for people who speak for them. So I guess from now on and until further notice, or at least until his GoFundMe is where it should be, $100,000, I don't even think is the tip of the iceberg when a child has been murdered. But it's taking us a very long time to even get to $30,000. The link is in my bio. Um, should you feel so inclined to give, I hope that you do. Be bold. Tonight, I want to talk about being bold. This weekend, maybe that was bold. I don't know. Um, I don't know what you know or what you don't know, but what I'm going to say, and trust me, I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts, and I promise you, you're going to hear them. But tonight, I just want you to know that our voice matters. And fuck anybody who thought that I was going to be quiet. I think as long as people are who they say they are, then everything's cool. And if you aren't, well, then maybe you have a problem. But me, I've always been me. I've never not been me. My flaws, my imperfections, whatever the fuck you have issues with me, I've never hid from them. I might not tell you that this is what's wrong with me as much as maybe you've seen something that might not have made sense, and maybe you've said something about that doesn't make sense, but I've never cowered away from any issues, and I'll never cower away from any issues because I don't feel like I'm a person who's done anything wrong. So I don't feel like my voice should be stifled. And in this movement where I've been to task force meetings, I've met legislators in my state, I am going to meetings in other states because it matters to me. I'm speaking to people across the country about our reparative justice, and people think that this is a good time to do something else. Well, tonight's not that night. Tonight, I want to talk about justice. I want to talk about being bold. I want to talk about Park Lane, South Carolina. In Park Lane, South Carolina, I don't know if y'all remember, I posted it in the jumbo, but last year, a 14-year-old was murdered by this Asian for some dumb shit. right? Because that keeps happening, whether it's uh, Trayvon, whether it's Tamir playing in the park, whether it's getting some orange juice. Shit, yeah. We're dying for some dumb shit by people who are not even supposed to be here. And I found out by way of uh, Jonathan. I think he's in the audience. Shout out to you, Jonathan, for the information. But I found out from Jonathan that the gas station that the locals shut down last year after that boy was murdered, it's reopened. They got all these signs up that say it's under new management. But when you go and look up the information, it's the same management. So this man who's in jail for murder is actively making money off of the community that he hurt. And I call bullshit. I'm so irritated to find out that we were able to shut the gas station down, and I say we because I involve and include myself and people who are doing the work. So we shut the gas station down, but then the community organizations, government, or whatever gets to reopen it, and they get to lie to the people and say it's under new management. You can look it up yourself. The information is easily accessible. But Mr. Chow, who is in jail right now for murder, is actively profiting from this gas station, this Shell gas station in Park Lane, South Carolina. And I think that that's wrong. I think the people in the area, if you know somebody who knows somebody, please tell somebody, but they need to shut the gas station down again. I looked up the city council members in that area, and what do y'all think it looks like? I mean, if you had to guess, out of the two, four, six, seven people on city council, what do you think they look like in this area where this boy was murdered? Okay, if you guessed it was a bunch of white people, you're probably right. But it's like half and half. We got white people, we got black people, but clearly none of the black people give a damn about the black people. Because if I were in office, and maybe I do run for office, I mean, the cat's out the bag as far as my skeleton. So, maybe I run for office now. Um, I don't know that I would allow certain behaviors to exist in our community. People who don't give a shit about you shouldn't be able to sell to you. They shouldn't be able to make money off of you. And I don't know what needs to be done outside of what we do that has worked, to just call places and make our voices known and let these people know that that's unacceptable, and that gas station needs to be shut down, and the people can do it. They did it last year. Y'all shut the place down last year. And then what always happens is we forget, because life starts lifing, and then we can't do what needs to be done, or we can't maintain the momentum from what we were doing. And that's not right either. There's got to be a middle ground in making sure that places and people that have harmed us don't get to profit anymore. The shit has to end, but it's not going to end if we don't do anything about it. Shout out to my brother Dwan, who's on stage, and shout out to Dr. Short, who I've been speaking with about this. And Dwan, I know you didn't really know what the topic was about, but I don't know if you remember in California when well, I don't is that your your history? Is Laquana McDowell?
It's Latasha Harlan's sister.
Let, let,
Latasha
yeah,
Harlan. There we go.
Natasha
What am I
Harlins.
thinking
That
about?
was Natasha Harlins was the first. That's what woke up my consciousness. I was 9 or 10 when that happened. The Natasha Harlins got shot right around the same time Ice Cube dropped Death Certificate, that album, and that's what woke me up. And like, from being a child, still was a child, but understanding that the world that I was in was real, because I was in an all black neighborhood. I didn't really interact with white folks living in the Crenshaw district. I did mostly black and Japanese, Okinawan. I had two Okinawan neighbors, but everything else was black. And you in the black school, black everything, you see is things that are unfair. But then when you saw that happen, it was like, yo, because I went down to the Asians was always fucking with us. If you go back and listen to Ice Cube, the song Black Korea, that was the temperament of LA at the time of Latasha Harlins getting shot. If you weren't around, or if you're too young to know what the city, or what it was like at the time, go back and listen to the whole Death Certificate album, top to bottom, to get a full analysis of what was going on. But specifically the song Black Korea. that by Ice Cube. That really told you what the relationship was like between black people and the Korean store owners at the time. And when Natasha Harding got shot, that's really was the thing that poured the gas. It was all kind of flammable material laying around, and Latasha Harding soaked that flammable material in gas. And when it was after it was soaked in gas, the Rodney King verdict was just the spark that lit this soap filled combustible engine thing off. But yeah, here in LA, the cats came down there, dudes in the neighborhood, and they really stood up. Sometimes I can go back. If I can, I might talk to Sling about that. Y'all know Sling Johnson, Black Jesus. Me and him be talking about that because that nigga was all he was he was on the streets back then, so he know it from the street angle about how that whole thing went down with Latasha Harlins. And yeah, we shut it down here, and that's something that we still kind of continue to do. It was just something that I heard recently over in Compton. One of those nail salon incidents that place ended up getting shut down, and the people that returned it was black owned. So the people who are down there, if you're in the area, please organize and rally and get this thing done. Because here in LA, we don't take too much disrespect before we get these motherfuckers up out of here. We can't win every battle, but I tell you this: when we do focus on battles, when we do focus on uh, places to shut down, we get that shit done here.
Amen to that. And I guess man, my memory, or at least this weekend's been really tough on me. So I apologize if I might mess up a name. So many of us have been murdered and there's no justice. Laquan McDonald was murdered by Jason Van Dyke. So not the same situation at all, but still another one of us who deserves justice, and it shit hasn't happened yet. So I guess that's why his name was on my mind. But Latasha, Dwan, I'm trying to figure out what Tupac song was that where he's talking about her. Do you remember?
Um, I know he is a quick reference into Live It. I don't remember the exact song by Tupac. No, I know it. I hear the melody, but I can't think of it.
That's basic. I feel like it's "Are You Still Down for Me," but
I hear the
I
melody.
don't know.
Well, go ahead.
All right. Anyway, Latasha Harlan. We have to say their names. I know that that's like a catchy thing. You know, you see that, say her name, say their name, say his name. But really, to our story, y'all don't know some powerful people in our story because you've never said their name. People don't know them, and their story gets forgotten. In the same way, victims and people who deserve justice, their names need to be spoken to so that we don't forget what we're fighting for. Why are we here? What are y'all here for? Are y'all here for drama? Is that why you're here? And if so, then I was about to say save the drama for your mom. I don't really mean that. I really just mean like that's whack. It's really whack sauce because I am not that. I mean, everybody has stuff, right? And inside of that stuff, you know, there's some stuff. But what have I been doing other than this? I want to tell y'all about things that bother me so that we can do something about it. Every time I've stepped on the mic, I try to have an uncomfortable conversation to get niggas to move, to get us to do something, to act. And sometimes we do. Sometimes y'all move. Shout out to Joe, who introduced me to Ozone and his girlfriend, wife, baby mama, or whatever, and they were able to speak their speech to a very big audience, and y'all came through in a big way to show your support. That's what I like. That's what I'm here for. I don't know what y'all are here for, but this weekend has been rough because at the end of the day, if it's not for that, the fuck are y'all doing around me? Really, truly, I don't want people around me who are not willing to risk it all. Because what are we fighting for if it's not everything? And if our fight for justice and reparations and what's ours is not important to you, then cool. But don't tell me that that's you and then you don't do things that make sense. Again, my brother Ogun Spirit and his family, they got two babies now, two beautiful black daughters, and they should have a black son. And I don't understand how Brickgate bitch can get all that money in 4 days, but they can't clear 30,000, 50,000, and it's been a year. I don't understand why we can't keep the momentum up if it's for something that's ours. But we can keep the momentum up when it's some bullshit drama. Y'all can share shit till kingdom come when it's some fucking drama. But when it's something that needs to be done, we can do it for a little while. And then it's back to the hamster wheel. Aren't y'all tired of the hamster wheel? Like, you get perpetually tired running on a bitch that don't go nowhere. That's why I don't like a treadmill. I loathe cardio at the gym because you're not going anywhere. It's the stupidest shit to me. But I mean, I get it. I understand why we need to work our heart muscles and, keep our heart rate up and stuff, but the shit doesn't make sense. I need to go somewhere. I need us to be doing things. And in Park Lane, Columbia, South Carolina, at that Shell gas station, I really think that that's something we can do. It's not the only thing we can do. South Carolina got something going on tomorrow, right? With the church. Dr. Short, is it the
It's
AME or is
Mother
Emmanuel?
Emanuel AME in Charleston. Just
So that's also happening. There is a lot of things going on in South Carolina right now, and I feel like certain states are targeted because they know that the people there are asleep. And y'all aren't asleep. There's too many people who say that they're doing things that make sense and matter for me to believe that we can't do anything. But if nothing gets done, then I guess they're right. We are people who are not doing anything. That's why bitches like, what's her name? Abbott, Aditi Bustles. Aditi Bustles is a councilwoman in Columbia, South Carolina, born to immigrant parents from India. She learned from an early age the value of hard work and the necessity of equal access to opportunities. Bullshit, bullshit, bull. How the fuck is Aditi Bustles on the city council for Columbia, South Carolina? How?
Sister Eve.
Go ahead, Dr. Short.
First of all, greetings to the room, to everyone, to Brother Dewan, and to Sister Jade, and anybody I don't see or recognize. Hello to all of you. We had this conversation about coons. South Carolina is literally the heart of white supremacy in America, not Mississippi, but South Carolina is the heart, and Virginia is the brain of white supremacy. Mississippi is the ass of white supremacy. And so there is a coon infrastructure that is so strong in South Carolina, and it's rooted in my unfavorite place, religious real estate that you misnomer as a church. And what if people want to break the treadmill, they have to go after the low-hanging fruit of black treason. And I'm saying this to you as a person who comes from 600 years of preachers. The biggest problem in South Carolina are nigger preachers, in particular the AME Church, the United Methodist Church, all of the black churches. When the Asians pay black preachers to give them the right to do whatever they want to black people. In case people forgot, in Charlotte, where black women were being beaten in the Asian stores, and it looked like things were going to go to a head, people like that fat, greasy preacher, Reverend Barbecue, the big fat one that couldn't see the color purple because there was no chair big enough for his fat ass to sit in, they met with the Korean Merchants Association and prevented black folks from doing a boycott and Charlotte, which is on the northwestern border of South Carolina. The Black preachers in North Carolina and South Carolina in particular work with the Asians through interfaith organizations and others, and the NAACP and the Democratic Party to fight us as a community. That's how they're making their money. And Black people must have what's called in political science an anti-clerical movement. This is an anti-clerical movements are commonplace because if you understand anything about history, my dear brothers and sisters in the room, many people are oppressed not only by the political and economic elites, as even a foreign colonizer, they always use the religious organizations to oppress the people most intimately. Any people that want to be free have to make certain that their religious entities serve the people and they purge out the no good, rotten preachers. The problem in our community is we have a respectability issue. Negroes are up, are crazed about respectability and being liked and fitting in. And we respect celebrities. For the last 50 years as a people, we've tended to treat, if you're Black and successful and you have a few dollars or a few trinkets or you have a building, don't criticize no matter what. That hasn't always been how we've been. And in particular, the religious give them a break. We have to go full tilt. If you want to see a change in South Carolina, I've sent you the information, Eve. Folks can go after the Black head of the United Methodist Church in South Carolina and rock his ass. They go after the 7th district of the AME Church. In fact, if folks were really good, we need to start demanding an IRS investigation of the finances of the AME Church because someone in that church stole something like $130 million worth of money from the retirement fund of the church. And it should have been investigated. The money hasn't been returned. If they'll steal from their own pastors and people who've worked in the church, what the hell do you think they're doing to us? What kind of deals do you think they cut against the people? That is the leadership in backward places in the South and all across the country. It's nigger preachers. This is why I talk about them so much. Okay. Again, I studied to be a preacher. I hate most preachers I meet. Forgive me. God help me. I meet a preacher. Normally I want to fight. They, they are the Gestapo. They are the spies. They're the traitors. They're Masons. They're Greeks. They're the Boule. It's the same people. It's all wrapped up. If we went after the pastors in Columbia, find one and make an example of them. Go after the NAACP president. She's an old boomer. She's probably got heart problems. If people gave these folks hell, just phone calls and emails and find someone. Because I'm going to tell you something about South Carolina. My day started off with me getting blocked by a nigga in South Carolina because I asked him a question. Why are there so many coons in South Carolina? That includes my family. They're goddamn coons. I mean, man, they love Obama. They'd suck his dick if it had AIDS on it. Because we have to go after the respectable people who are traitors in our community and rip their skirt of unrighteousness so people can see how filthy their asses are. And it doesn't take that much. We talk about phone calls. There's someone down there because you'll never hear about police slangs in South Carolina. Have you ever wondered why? Because these nigger preachers and the NACP and the Masons keep it quiet. And they do the same everywhere. Wherever they get absolute control of the boule, then the Black community gets destroyed as long as they do okay. Once they take oaths to these groups, they're for their group and they're against the rest of us. We've got to come out of this Dreamtime Disney World idea that these people are for us. We're in the shit that we're in now because we're being betrayed by people that look like us that we want to believe care. Let me land my plane.
That's real, Dr. Short. There's a lot of people that we have out there that act like they care and they really don't, and they're just really using this thing as fake hustle. It's a way to pass time, for a lot of people. That's why I always say my show, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages. You got to really look at the message people are putting out there. The message is how they live their life. How are they spending their free time? Are they spending their time when it comes to this, uh, doing some of the nonsense we've been seeing lately? Or are they giving it up to, our warrior scholars on their birthdays? Are they doing things to where they're talking and they're out there actually? Even he brought up a point earlier about the fundraiser for our brother Ogun Spirit, and unfortunately, right now we're still at a time to where people just want to do what's popular, and if it's hot, people are all on it. It's like the whole cult of personality, this groupthink kind of thing. And even though a lot of us have moved past a lot of the BS that we were taught, we still have that thing in our mind to where we only really move if it's a big cult like style movement, like a huge kind of thing where it's very popular and everybody's, if it's just the right thing to do, it seems like sometimes the right thing to do gets gets looked over, and so we have to just make sure that we're not part of that group. And it is discouraging when you see certain things like that, Eve. Just understand that's just where we are right now, still as a people. But just because that's where we are doesn't mean that's where we always need to be. And I do think we have to mature to the point to where we can get things done when it's not always going to be entertaining and fun and all that other stuff.
That's real. And look, I really like your tag. There's not a perfect messenger, and that we need to pay attention to the messages. Um, a lot of people didn't like Tupac, right? Because they either thought that he was a fake gangster, or they just didn't like his style of rap or whatever. But I can appreciate Tupac for the artist and the spirit that he was. I posted the lyric in the jumbo. I found it. It was from Mama Raised. It was from Hellrazor. And as I thought about it, I have now titled the space. So to anybody who wanted to share the space, but you didn't know what I was talking about, I feel like Mama raised a Hellraiser, and maybe that's the energy we need to be on. I don't know, but I posted the lyric in the jumbo about Latasha because I think that, if you're in a position of power and you can do something about what's going on, you're an artist. What can you really do? They tell them shut up and dribble because you're a basketball player, whatever. Your entertainment, but sometimes you can do things. You can say something, and maybe it'll go somewhere. Maybe it won't. I don't know. Um, Another thing about perfect messages and messengers. The other day, I found out that in 1968, Eldridge Cleaver made penis pants. And I feel like sometimes certain history gets put to the back burner because of what you just said. We have to pay attention to the message and not necessarily the messenger. But once you start looking at the messenger, it's like, maybe you're saying certain things because it's palatable. And then maybe some other things, you try to skirt in because, people have already accepted you one way. Enter penis pants. I urge everybody in this room to just Google Eldridge Cleaver penis pants. You will see that not only did he have pants for the young men out here, but he had pants for the young men out here, like little boys. Penis pants. Eldridge Cleaver. Okay. South
So
Carolina.
that like so you talk about to make it clear, you're talking about Black Panther. 'Cause I heard a little bit about this. I remember basically when Eldridge Cleaver was done. He went into some weird stuff. Because I always wondered why he was why Bungie Carter and those other cats got murked and he still got to move on. And then I was, the whole I'm looking at this whole penis pants things, and so I want to make a caveat to my quote. When I say there are no perfect messengers, look, you got to pick up the message. But at some point, when the messenger is doing some weirdo shit, I don't give a damn how good the message is. You gotta look back at that motherfucker. It's not always, everything isn't always cut and dry. And if you got somebody doing something like that, and that right there makes it hairy, it's like, are you there, Eve? I don't think Eve is back yet. But
Sorry, that's my fault.
right.
For the room, I try not to be a person and just speak out of my ass or out the side of my neck or whatever. I am telling y'all about penis pants because damn it if somebody didn't show this to me and I had to believe it when I saw it type of shit for myself. But I posted it in the jumbo for you. I apologize in advance if you never wanted to see something like this, but I promise you that if people knew certain things about the people that we were listening to about certain things, then maybe y'all would know that y'all already know a lot of shit about a lot of shit. And really, we've been conditioned to be a people to look for a messenger. And I'm not saying that everybody's supposed to be the person talking. And I'm not saying that everybody's supposed to, I'm not telling anybody what to do. But I am saying that a lot of times what we're being told is shit that you already know. And maybe you just, it's too close to home for you to hear it. So you got to hear it from somebody else, whatever. Once you hear it and you know it, what are you doing? Are you just a spectator listening to what's going on? Or are you somebody who's doing something about what you're hearing? And I really urge you to be a person who's active. I've seen in very real time people not be active. And I've also seen what it looks like when people are active. I've seen the good and I've seen the bad. And trust me, the good hit trumps the bad every single time if you're not afraid. If you out here doing what you need to do for the right reasons, then you can't really be stopped unless they stop you. Salute to all of our ancestors who were murked for saying less, just because they had a voice and they did say something. Don't be afraid to use your voice. Do something. Dr. Short said places that you can call, and I'll share that stuff in the jumbo. I got to go through the text, Dr. Short, and I hope we can talk a little bit more tonight about some of that stuff. But the AME Church in South Carolina definitely has some splaining to do. And if the
Eve,
people can't make them splaining, then everything needs to get shut down.
Eve, real quick. Also, when you read deeper into going into Cleaver, it's not just the pants. Before you go on further, it's not just the pants. It's a lot of his writings about, basically what he was into while he was in prison.
Mhm.
The Dookie love aspect of it all. If you dig what I'm saying,
And him
don't dig what I'm saying. But go ahead, Dr. Show. Go ahead.
him beating the shit out of his wife, Kathleen Cleaver. What's this thing about violence against women? You ain't hurt one white dog, no smoke for people who kill us. But you can beat a sister. If I remember reading properly, you bruise somebody's ribs. I'm sorry. Everybody knows I hate feminism, but I love Wazies. Kathleen Cleaver's a Wazie. Oh my God, what kind of man beats a woman like that? Beats any woman. I don't like any woman getting hit. I can't stand it. Forgive me. I'm the weakest nigga on this stage. I hate violence against black women. This shit's making me angry thinking about it. How this jackass could be an icon, a man that raped black women and thought it was fun. Shit, he should have died.
Yeah, that's some. I'm not sure, but like that's something that we as a people, you know, we can't, like that's something. You there?
I am. I think the host has something going on. So look,
Yeah. Jade has her hand up. Yeah. I don't know what's
Oh,
going
okay.
on
Can
right
you hear
now.
me now?
Go ahead, Jade.
All
Yeah,
right.
go
Peace to
ahead.
the room. Shout out to our sister Just Eve, Dr. Short, brother Dewan B, my brother Immortal. You're talking about Eldridge.
Got problems over there. I'm gonna have to read.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Can you hear me here?
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Twitter X was fucking with me over here, and I was trying to tell y'all I couldn't hear anything, and I couldn't hear anything, and it was really pissing me off. Jade, I want you to speak whatever you were speaking. I'm gonna try to work out these issues on my phone. Shout out to my husband for being right here, and I could use his account to co-host.
amen. God bless
All
him.
right,
Great black
go
man.
ahead, please.
Yes. Shout out to Black Love. Thank you. So yeah, I just wanted to chime in. Dr. Short was really extrapolating on the point of Eldridge Cleaver. And then just talking about violence against Black women, and how he beat his wife. So I just also want to bring our attention to Eldridge Cleaver's book, Soul on Ice, when he talked about being an avowed rapist. He raped Black women, he said, in the ghetto. These are his words, not my words. He raped Black women in the ghetto as practice for raping white women. And then he went on to be a rapist of white women, and he saw that as an insurrectionary act, quote unquote. If you don't believe me, you can go do the research on Soul on Ice. You can get the book. But this is a sick, demented individual that not only put his hands on his wife, but even before then, growing up, like I said, when he says he was raping Black girls in the ghetto as practice for raping the white man's woman. I
And what you
don't,
think he did in jail?
yes, absolutely. So y'all can go read his words. I know that, not that I think, that sort of mentality is very, very dangerous, is demonic, is lowbrow, is low energy, and it's a cancer to Black society. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'll land my plane.
Thank you for speaking, and I think I have worked out the audio issues over here. I hope I wasn't inappropriate while thought I was muted, and if I was, then my bad. Um, Soul on Ice. Here's an excerpt for your thoughts. I've tried to mislead you. I'm not humble at all. I have no humility, and I do not fear you in the least. If I pretend to be shy, if I appear to hesitate, it's only a sham to deceive. By playing the humble part, I succor my fellow men and seduce them of their trust. And then, if it suits my advantage, I lower the boom mercilessly. I lied when I stated that I had no sense of myself. I'm very well aware of my style. My vanity is as vast as the scope of a dream. My heart is that of a tyrant. My arm is the arm of the executioner. It is only the failure of my plots that I fear. That's from Solo on Ice. Now I know he's a rapist, and he didn't rape white women and rape Black women, and he's doing all that shit. But think about what people are saying and who they say they are, and you have to listen to people when they tell you who they are. People should listen. And then do what you want with the message, because like Dewan said, I mean, there are no perfect messengers. I'm not perfect. I don't think that is a perfect person. And if you think that there's a perfect person, then I'm sorry, because there's no perfect person. At least maybe that's the one thing that I can say with absolute truth. And if you disagree with me, then you need some help. Um, Immortal, you have your hand up. You've been patient. You can have the mic. Go ahead.
All right, I appreciate it. So, greetings to you, the host and co-host, and greetings to everyone that's in the room. Soul on Ice. That was one of the books that I was forced to read. Come growing up, and I don't even think I was 10 years old when I had to read that book. One thing that sticks out to me about him and the book that he wrote and the oral history that was handed down to me about him, in particular, was that, you know, he did whatever he did while he was involved with the Black Panthers. And when the heat started really coming down, he fled the country. And, we talk all the time about people who flee their country and under adversity. But he fled the country. And according to the history that was given to me, now, if I'm wrong, I'm not going to argue with anybody about it. Maybe you know something I don't know. But according to the history that was given to me, he fled the country. And once he tried to return, he was blocked at the border and not allowed to enter the country unless he made certain concessions. So, just from the excerpts of his book, he described himself. Now this same type of personality is facing choices in order to enter the country again. And based on the history that was given to me, yeah, he made many a concession. I hadn't heard about the penis pants, but it does not surprise me. By the time he came back if he wasn't 100%, what they call it, compromised before he left the country, he definitely was compromised, as a prerequisite to enter the country. And that's why, that's one of the reasons why you don't see him lifted up in the Black community, in the, in circles where those type of people, congregate and keep those things moving forward. He's not anyone that, the culture venerates. I can't think of, well, maybe I can, but in any case, he's not venerated in the community. Very few people venerate him because of what was in his book. And not only that, because of the way that he turned, the way that he compromised and just gave it all up. He's like, yeah, I'm on y'all side now. In order to get back into the United States, I'll turn sides. That's the way I took it, the way the oral history was given to me. And Warrior Scholar, I just wanted to speak real quick on Warrior Scholar, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, a great warrior scholar. And I really do appreciate everything that he did. And I think I'll leave it at that for the Warrior Scholar. But just to reiterate my previous point and just to make a point, Eldridge Cleaver, something was wrong with him before he became into Black Panthers. I think he told you that in his book. Something was wrong with him. So he saw an opportunity, an outlet of expression. I don't really think, because if you was really for the cause and for your people, like just you say, you go all out. You put it all on the line, and he compromised. He didn't. So, so the people that knew him when they were doing work in the Black Panther Party, maybe it was some people there that didn't really understand that about him before his book was written, didn't understand that about him. You know it now. They figured it out later. So even if you were there were people who didn't recognize who he was, at the time they were working with him and they appreciated all the work. Hey, look, people change. Sometimes you look at people and they come in right, but then something changes in them, and then they're not the person who they used to be or who you thought they were. So everybody's not everybody's not going to finish this struggle. The people who fight for our people with you today might not be the people who are fighting with you next year,
That's
because they'll
real
change
talk.
on you. They'll change on you. Yep.
When,
So
when it comes down to it, I'm gonna thanks for that. Like when I want to piggyback on what you just said. When it comes down to it, we got to understand that people, these move like these circles, Black empowerment is no different than church. Same shit. It's no different than we talk the black empowerment space be the first ones to talk shit about frats. Same shit. You know, either you gonna talk like me, walk like me, and if you don't do it, do it exactly the way I want to do it. You're out of my boys club. It's all the same shit. And so we got to understand, like, because America's run on a church style environment. It's high school. It's gonna be it's gonna be those two places, church and high school. Popularity contests, and then within the popularity contest, it's going to attract all kinds of varieties of people. The majority of whom are genuine in what they do. They attract majority people who are really genuine and just really want to see something change. But they also attract weirdos. And we see it all the time in church. You look up, you be like, whatever happened to Brother Johnson? Oh, that nigga got hemmed up because he was boomty bamping and whoopty wamping. You know what I mean? We see this shit all the time. And this black empowerment shit ain't no goddamn different. You got hustlers, you got people who with good intentions, you got people who are flat out weirdos. And we gotta remember that just because someone has a similar mindset towards liberation for our people, or we assume they have a similar mindset towards liberation for our people, because we gotta remember this. A lot of niggas, just like the church, a lot of these niggas, a lot of niggas who want to be your leader, they just want their turn at whiteness. They don't want to end white supremacy. They don't want to do anything about the power structure. They want their turn at the top of that power structure. And no different than the mosque, the church, the Hebrew Israelites, the band, the basketball team, the football team, all the same shit. A whole bunch of thimble-sized dick swinging going on. So we got to remember that. And for those us of out there who are really genuine about what we do, you know, we can't get discouraged, but at the same time, you can't fall. Because like going back to Eldridge Cleaver and going back to just a lot of the different movements, like you see right now, King Day's coming up tomorrow, and they'll make the whole movement about Dr. King, when really the movement was about everybody it was about everybody. Dr. King was just the face of millions of people who had good intentions. So even though you may see people don't have good intentions, I always go back to this: when Burr killed Alexander Hamilton, that was two people who are critical to the foundation of this nation. But the death of Hamilton didn't stop the United States from getting built. And that lesson can come to all of us. You know, we look at somebody like an Eldridge Cleaver, and you look at some of these other people that we've seen, whether good or bad, it's still about the people. It's not about any individual, because the Eldridge Cleaver, you see how as weird as as weird as he was, when we look back and find out, as weird as he was, it doesn't dilute the message of the Black Panthers. It doesn't dilute the effectiveness of the Black Panthers and what they were able to accomplish and do for us. So we got to remember that when it comes to that, it's all about us and our intentions. And you know what I mean. And make sure that at the end of the day, can't nobody tell you who to listen to, can't nobody tell you who to follow, can't nobody tell you none of that. Whatever you feel like doing, whatever's up to you, whatever happens, no matter who you fall in line with. Because I'm the kind of person, if they giving you a good message, listen to them. I ain't shit. Go ahead. You know what I mean? But at the same time, can't nobody tell you who's good for you, who's not good for you. That's the decision we have to make for ourselves. Because if you let other people pick who's good and who's not good, what happens if you find out later on that they're just Eldridge Cleaver? But go ahead.
Hey, Sister Eve, Brother Duane, everybody, I want to just put something on the table here about Eldridge Cleaver and the whole thing that's really been damaging and continues. Eldridge Cleaver is probably the most vocal person, as I think the Minister of Information at one point or something like that, for the Panthers. His anti-Black woman, anti-woman stuff was replayed all over the world and made out that Black men are all brutal towards women. He helped reinforce the idea of Black men as rapists, brutes. The feminists and all of them have plugged into Soul on Ice, as that's how Black men are. There are thousands of Black men who've been destroyed, falsely accused of rape, screwed in family law court over Soul on Ice. And the disservice that he did to Black men and women across this country and the world. So a lot of the problems we have today go back to everyone. Oh, wow. The color purple of the late 60s was Soul on Ice. So you have this dude who puts out all this horrific stuff. And then later you get Alice Walker. He's a logical progression from the vulgar, degenerate pork chop feminism we have today, was birthed in part off of this psychotic man. And I want to echo on what Brother Dewan said and the brother before him. In these movements, you need to watch your back and study people. What people's principles are important. You cannot ignore them. There are infiltrators. The Black Panther Party was infiltrated once it had 4 members. There are agents afoot in this effort. You better believe it. And they spy on people and they bother. And Sister Eve knows all she has to do is invite me to a space and there will be problems on Twitter. And I don't have 100,000 people following me. Okay. but as Dr. Winter says, some of us have been vocal internationally about the Black situation. We get bothered. There are spies everywhere. Trust God, trust people that you know, that you vetted, and understand that we have a lot of mental illness in our community, and people join. They join churches, they join everything, and take their pathology with them, and they want to become people in charge so they can hurt others. This is a big part of it. They don't want to serve, they want servants. We have a predilection as a people for looking for Messiah, looking for a strong man or woman to get behind, and we get betrayed. We got Nature Boy, we got Polite, we got Malachi York, we have Yahweh Ben Yahweh. We have a plethora of nigger messiahs, and sometimes they're females, that betray, take the people's money, and screw them over. And we need to be able to recognize that we ourselves have to be leaders, following our own conscience, and having a real legitimate code and philosophy. And you can't make everybody believe the same thing, but if the core ideas match, work with them. But you don't have to join anything. You don't have to be mistreated by anybody. And I want to say this to women: any Black man that you think to get behind, you can determine whether he's real or not over whether he wants to serve you or he's trying to make you, put you in his harem to serve him. It's very simple. Either they are men that want to serve, that are servant leaders, or they're grifter pimps. There are only 2 types. It's very simple. And but Eldridge Cleaver is one of the worst people that ever happened to us as a community. Black men to this day pay for it, and it instigated a lot of the stuff you hear bad about Black men. And all the feminist literature that I read on the Angry Black Men's Book Club, they use Soul on Ice as basically the manifesto of what Black men are. So Black men are killed, beaten, jailed, brutalized because of this book. Let me land my plane.
Excellent points.
That's real. I gotta make one point real quick because I'm going to get out of here pretty soon.
Go ahead.
But within the movement, it only takes one nigga to do some goofy shit for all of us to get castigated. That's all it takes. So we got to be very aware about where we put our energy, what we dedicate it towards, and all that stuff. Because really, like what Dr. Short just said about that book, you have a popular ideology, especially if that ideology, when I say popular, popular amongst Black people, something that's going to be for us, something that's going to benefit us in any way, shape, or form. Part of the reason why I always say there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages, is so everyone can refocus. Refocus from what? What's going to happen is at all times, because this is what happens when you're dealing with groups of people, somebody is going to do some dumb shit. And somebody who is going to say some dumb shit, and you be thinking these white folks ain't paying attention to what we got going on. The minute one person do some goofy ass shit, now all of a sudden the whole world is in on our business. And everybody that's serious about what we have going on, everybody that cares and has a heart for what we have going on, we always have to pay the consequence for a handful of goofy ass niggas that's weirdos that just wanted some attention. So we got to make sure that all of us continue to, I started saying I didn't know this about Eldridge Cleaver. I didn't read the book, but Eldridge Cleaver never really, like, for some reason he just never did it for me. I'm an LA nigga, so Bunchy Carter was my nigga. You know what I mean? Killed at UCLA 1969. And what he had going on, because I know people out here who knew Bunchy Carter, who ran with Bunchy Carter with the Slaussons out here. And so he was always, when I looked at the Panthers, he was always my guy. But with that being said, you know what I mean? Things happen, things are out of our control. And as long as of us stay focused on what we want out of it, we good. Like when it comes to all that mess and muck and slop and shit, it's like, you know what? If people want that, that's fine. But I ever since I started seeing some great chin hairs in my face, I started questioning what good is that. You know what I mean? It's good. It's good to entertain for a couple seconds, and then it's off to the real shit. But speaking of real shit, I got some new music that I gotta go goddamn create. And so I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here. But I'm gonna go back to listening, but I'm gonna be driving, so I probably won't be able to speak. So yeah, appreciate y'all. Don't let these goofy ass niggas stop a motherfucking thing. Let's keep doing what the hell we do, and just understand that when a goofy nigga does something goofy, the last thing we need is somebody saying, "Why all black people got to be like that?" No, goofies are always gonna exist in every race, shape, or form. So when we see goofies do goofy shit, let's just keep doing what the fuck we do and keep doing what we doing. That's all I gotta say.
Juan, tell them about the film. Sister Eve, he needs to put a
Uh,
I know. I got it, Dr. Short. I got it. I got it. Dewan, as always, I appreciate your support every single time. I appreciate people who are who they say they are, people who do what they say they're going to do. Dewan has a project coming out because music is his shit. That's his lane. And damn if he doesn't drive that bitch at 120 and not get in
hey,
any type of traffic violation. Let's talk about, no, let's not talk about it. But Dewan, thank you for coming up. If you want to support Dewan's project, it's in the Jumbo. He's got a GoFundMe. There's other ways that you can support by hitting the link on his channel. We actually have some other things coming down the pipeline that I think that you guys would be very much interested in. How he's reading this year, you should definitely pay attention to the cards. Maybe that's too
mm-hmm.
spooky for you, but damn it if the cards ain't been right and it's only day 14 of this Gregorian calendar year.
And just one more thing is, for those of you out there, it's online. Please help support the movement, but also know that this movie, I'm online, and online is dope. But this shit, what I do is a live in person thing too. And he's been out there to the city when it comes to this nice ass city of LA. When I do something live, the names come out, and that was long before I started working with names. It's always been that way because I do this shit for real. And so what I really need to do is bring what I bring to people live in LA in their face, in front of people, not on no weird shit trying to take other people's information. And no, this is the first thing shit that I do in person. The whole thing of this year is bringing it to you guys internationally and worldwide. And so yeah, that's what I need you guys' help for, to take what I do here in person, live and in action, and put it across the world. I appreciate y'all for that.
And we appreciate you because it's a sacrifice. I know we've been working for a little bit, and the work that goes into it, the ingredients, right? Shout out to the people who've been in our music spaces who understand that chefing is work, and all of the work that we've been doing, the benefit, it's going to go like that if you're not ready, if you're not prepared. And I think that we can be more prepared if we are the people we say we are, at least the people who've been around me. You're a person who supports the work. So support the work. His Cash App is in the Jumbo. You should definitely hit that. I see my brother Joe came to the stage. But Immortal, you have your hand up. Joe, you know how I like to do things. So I'm going to throw the mic to Immortal first. And then I'm
I
going to bring it
appreciate
back
it.
around to you. Go ahead, Immortal.
I appreciate it. I try to keep it short. Um, we got to get away from this weird ass thing. Like we just got through talking about the mentality and psychology, according to his own words, a man who presented himself. He was coming to help black people, black Americans, and wanted to do the right thing by our people. Okay. So one way, and this is really for the young folks. A lot of these guys that are older, uh, they're incorrigible. But so I will say, I will take this time to speak out to the younger Black American men. Um, Me personally, I think that we live under a system of white supremacy. Now, you might not call it that. You might call it occupation. You might call it whatever. I call it a system of white supremacy. Now, me personally, I have always considered myself a warrior class man. I'll put my body on the line. I'll do the scholarship. Throughout my life, this has been a consistent thing that I've done. My family knows me like this. but the thing is, as a warrior class man, a soldier out here in this war against us, it's your job to protect Black American women. That's your number one job. That's your number one job. And guess what? The job is incomplete. I'm not saying you're not trying. I'm not saying you're not fighting, but there's more fighting to be done. And you're going to be an ineffective soldier if you take time out of doing your job to go unnecessarily and unjustly be out here mistreating Black American women. You just can't do it. It doesn't work like that. Do your job and then come back and critique these Black American women. Do your job. Get the system of white supremacy up off of them. Then monitor what they say, what they do. Then offer your opinion, your suggestions, because then have earned it. Now, I know we get a lot of grace from our ladies, and they love us like no women have ever loved any men. So, yeah, we're going to get grace. And, yeah, they're going to let us stand at the head of the table. And, yeah, they're going to let us be men. But that's your job. So if you want to understand women, I would suggest you go listen to people like Dr. Shahrazad Ali. If you want a hard line of understanding women, and even she doesn't give you permission to use what she teaches you as a method to manipulate and mistreat Black women. I've met a lot of men, but you young guys, man, that's your number one job. Listen, if you don't like something that a woman is doing, go listen to other women that you respect and see what they think about it. That's what you do. And then I would suggest that you take the advice of the women that you respect. Just like I just mentioned, Dr. Shahrazad Ali, anything I do concerning women is filtered through that teaching. It's filtered through the teaching of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. You see, these people didn't put everything on the line for nothing. They was out here giving you manhood training. Some of y'all ain't got manhood training. Let the women
Immortal, I don't mean
yeah.
to cut you off, but absolutely. I've spoken with our teacher, Shahrazad Ali, and I've learned so much in the limited interactions that I've had with her. And if y'all missed it, it is on the channel. I think you should check it out. It was an interesting conversation about being stuck on stupid, because our community is stuck on stupid. Like, we got men trying to be women, women trying to be men, brother fuckers, fagonists, and a whole bunch of other shit going on. All the while, all of us know that we have a real fight for our reparative justice. This shit is backwards, and they know it's backwards. I think about conversations that I've had with our elder Mr. Neely Fuller, and shout out to Dr. Short, who has always helped me get in contact with whoever needs to be contacted for whatever needs to be done. I really appreciate people who are who they say they are and then do what they say that they're going to do. And if you can't do it, that's cool too. Dr. Short's never said that he could do something that he couldn't do. And if he couldn't do it, he's definitely done his darndest to find somebody who can do it for me. It's amazing what we can do when we're not out here trying to fuck each other over. And I think that we've been conditioned as a people to think backwards, to think that we can go at it on our own and that's not the way. I think, Immortal, I'm gonna let you finish your point because I really appreciated what you were saying, but when you were talking about Shahrazad Ali, I just kept thinking about how the the family has been the target of all of this. And every time the family gets attacked, that's a link that gets broken, and then we're less than what we were when we got started. I think that those links need to be solidified, and they're solidified when men like you and Dr. Short and Dwan and my brother Sonny, Jojo, my husband who's in the space, like y'all doing what needs to be done, and then women allowing y'all to do what needs to be done, because trust me, I get it. A lot of times it's us getting in the way of what needs to be done. The shit is backwards, but it's by design. Mr. Fuller teaches us that the shit is by design, and if you don't understand it, it's going to confuse you. And damn it, if a lot of us are not out here confused, thinking we got it, but the problem is still here. Mr. Fuller told me straight up, and he's told y'all out loud to any time that you've listened to him, if you have a problem, you have to ask questions. And if you haven't solved the question or the first question, then you can't move on to the next question, because then the math don't math. And I know he doesn't say it like that, but we have to, things are so simple, but we overcomplicate it with our feelings and our emotions, and they know that, and now we are used against each other when our focus was always what's ours. Immortal, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can finish your point. Dr. Shar, you see your hand up, but Immortal, go ahead, finish what you had to say.
Okay, I'm go ahead and land it, but and I appreciate it. And but yeah, get your manhood training up. You're not doing anything out here. I just take what I see on the stage. The ladies, I'll say, and she ain't on the stage, but MF Kush, Lioness Crown, Just Eve. I've never known them to do anything but fight for their people. That's all I know about them is they fight for their people. They put everything on the line, like she was talking about earlier. I'm not perfect, and I don't expect them to be perfect. And so, if you're a warrior class man, and they out here putting in all this work, I suggest you sit down somewhere. If you don't like them or you got a problem with them, sit down somewhere. Go find you some business. Go find something constructive to do. Because beating down and trying to besmirch them, their character, all that kind of shit, that's fuck shit. That's fuck boy shit. You act like you ain't got no manhood training. You act like, so and let's not condone and support people who are doing that. You want to support somebody and they're doing something constructive, support that. But if they are doing something that's not constructive, do not support that. And you have a right to say that you disagree. You can disagree with anybody. Ain't nobody out around here God but God. We are just the children of God. So I can disagree with anybody I want to, and that don't mean I hate you and all this kind of stuff. But hey, don't support fuck shit, please. Can we as men, especially you young men, I hope you listening, don't support fuck shit. Especially when it comes to how we're going to treat our women, and be sincere. I hear a lot of talk about sincerity. If you out here for the struggle, the number one thing you need is sincerity. It ain't the number one you think is not money. The number one you think you need is not supporters. The number one thing you got to come into this fight with is sincerity. And if you're in this fight for your own personal gain and that's all you care about it, I believe that we're supposed to be compensated for our work, whatever work you do, even if it's for our people. But if you come in here to try to get rich or something like that, or boost your own little ego or whatever that is, that's not what this is for. You're going to end up being disappointed. And some of us cats on the streets are going to let you know that it don't go like that around here. We don't care how much money you got, how poor you are. First thing we want to know is how sincere you are. So yeah, family, let's keep away from the bullshit. Let's get the work done. Let's support the women who are helping us. Nothing you do as a warrior class man don't mean shit unless our women are backing us up and saying that that's what I want to see. That's what I'll submit to. That's what I want to, that's your bellwether. So I appreciate y'all letting me speak.
And we appreciate you speaking. Some of y'all I don't know, and I guess I've never really heard what you've had to say. So if I haven't followed you back, it's just because you haven't said something that made me want to follow you back. But Immortal, I need to let you know that the things that you just said tonight really moved me. And I hope that that's real. So thank you. Dr. Short, go ahead. And then Dr. Short, you really cutting JoJo off, but go ahead. He still doesn't have his hand up, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't go long. First and foremost, I want to give blessings to everybody in the room, in particular to you two sisters. And I want to say this to Sister Jade. We're all connected, and we need to recognize that we aren't shit without each other, okay? That's black men ain't shit without black women, and vice versa. Black women ain't shit without black men. And when we're divided, we're up shit creek. So we should want to get out of the shit. And we all have stuff to work on. I'm not lying to you if I said to you I have a family with pimps and men that have beaten women, pedophiles, predators, incest freaks. But we need to break with the pimp culture that I call the brother fucker culture. We need to quit. I want out. I've wanted out my whole life. I was tired of my cousins being murdered by their boyfriends, literally shot dead. There was a rumor that women couldn't live past the age of 18 in my family because they kept getting killed by their boyfriends. I'm sick of this. Been sick. And we have to be so sick until we change. And see, we can't afford to hurt one another. What Jade doesn't know, although she knows to do genealogical research, I have found a very curious thing in my genealogical research that there's a name spelt with an I, which is Arendelle, but not with the A. And that I have relatives named Arendelle, going back the last 150 to 200 years. Okay, we need to be careful when we mistreat each other because our families have been so blasted by what we've been through. Sometimes we're violating kinfolk. In fact, the reason that Black people, as crazy as we are, have been able to come together was when we were enslaved or dominated, oppressed, or whatever. There was a concept of kinship that transcended blood, region, because people had to be together to survive what we were facing. Part of kinship is recognizing we respect one another and help one another. And it's not always transactional. We need to stop seeing women as basically used pussy dealers or men as used pipe dealers and start saying brothers and sisters. And it doesn't have to be sexual friction between us for us to respect, to talk to help, to support, and to care about each other. It's essential that we leave this hedonistic culture created by white supremacy to divide us. We are the most powerful people on the earth when we're together. And so it's everything that could make us not like each other's done. We have to stop falling for the okey doke, whether it came from that bastard Eldridge Cleaver or from Alice Walker. And so I'm going to land my plane by saying the highest commandment is to love neighbor as self. If we simply tried, those of us that can be loved, to give a damn about each other, a whole lot of the problems that we have would disappear overnight. It's within our capacity to care. The way we get involved in Palestine and Ukraine and everywhere else, let's get involved for home. Let's get involved for our mothers, our sisters, our nieces, our daughters. And yes, even hoes must be respected. We have thousands of missing, dead, killed, disembodied Black women, and nobody's talking about it. Disappeared children. We have a lot of fighting to do, and my enemy isn't Black women. My enemy are the racists who want every one of us exterminated. Black power, and let me let you guys go. I've got my business wife. I don't want her to throw hot coffee on me. I gotta go.
And we don't want her to throw hot coffee on me, so definitely support Dr. Short. His Cash App is in the jumbo because not necessarily because he's speaking in my space, but because of the work that he does. I don't believe in the poor righteous person. The shit I can't even say it I'm allergic to it. We're supposed to be out here doing what we do and getting paid for it. I'm so tired of people putting their finger on the pulse of our progress. And I mean, I started the space talking about Park Lane, Shelf in Columbia, South Carolina, and what we can do. Because again, I like to have conversations that revolve around solutions. And I'd really like it when people are moved to do something. I like Tupac. Hellrazor is a song that I think that y'all could listen to and maybe be moved by, because I think that the music does that. At least I know that there's a shift in the music because our music was moving us and we weren't quiet about things that didn't make sense. Now we got a bunch of bullshit out there, and you might listen to what you listen to, but is it moving you? I don't know. People say I listen to old shit. Maybe that's my problem. What's up, Joe? Peace to you. Welcome to the stage. What's going on?
PC, what's going on? How y'all doing? How the space doing, man? Um, I want to just say this right. When I came to this app 2 years ago, I did not, project where I would be as far as the people that I would connect with and stuff like that. I was actually encouraged to come to the app on the behalf of our brother O and to reach out to gain support for him. And that was the initial move. Uh, at that point, my relationships began to grow. You know what I'm saying? There were people that already knew in real life. Then there was some that I didn't know. I came onto this app, and I just want to say something about the behavior of certain men, right? Um, I just want to, the behavior of certain men in this movement, man, and people applauding bull crap. Because I'm being told not to say certain things, so I'm not gonna say it because I want to say it so bad right now. Um, but I'm gonna just say this to the degree of doxing people, putting people's information out there, because I can remember there was a sister that I'm very, very fond of now, that when I came to this app, they told me she was a tether. They told me stay away from those people over there, you know, they ain't nothing but some trouble and stuff like that. Come to find out, these were good people putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? And it was like somebody was saying, I think the one B was talking about the group think thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need a motherfucker thinking for me. I can think for myself. You know what I'm saying? Now I take suggestions from people that I trust, and I don't think who would not do that. If you trust somebody, they tell you something, you're gonna go off of that. But then when you start to see that shit is jaded, then that's where the BS come in. So yeah, man. I'm gonna let that be, because I was told, hey, just hold my horse. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I really want to say what I want to say, but I want to just make sure I touch base on the fact that we cannot be, as men, getting behind other men that do things that disparage our women in this movement. Um, and I don't give a dang how small the platform, how big the platform, how much you love them, how much money you put behind them. We cannot give a blind eye to behaviors like that, man. You know what I'm saying? That was one of the main reasons I went to a space and apologized to a sister, because I thought the shit was funny because they done told me this was a tether. You get what I'm saying? When I find out that this is a black American woman standing on business out here pushing the line, getting things done, I felt hurt. I felt betrayed. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I shot myself in the foot, because at the end of the day, this was somebody that I supposed to be connecting with and building with, and seeing where things can go as far as getting our people pushed forward. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna mention no names right now. You know what I mean? But she know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? That sister know who I'm talking. She a very, very special sister. Some people, y'all, folks don't like whatever. Well, that's life. We don't like a lot of people. But I'm talking about when it comes to standing on business, when it comes to doing the work, when it comes to being outside, when it comes to going for these reparations task force, when it comes to goddamn speaking about who we are as Black Americans, standing on our ethnic identity, and allowing these people to come in and uh, cosplay us. Man, that sister, that she's a fighter, man. She's in the paint. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to speak on that, man, because at the end of the day, what happens to our sisters, man, kind of like reflects on how us as men treating our women as a whole. And I'm not gonna sit around myself knowing that I'm in vicinity of a sister that's a rider and allow any type of harm to come against her without me voicing, what I'm saying, my pushback. So I'm gonna land my plane right there, man. But yeah, man, y'all know
I
how I feel about
appreciate
this
that,
shit.
Joe. Your thoughts and words are much appreciated. And thank you for the pause because, like I said earlier tonight, and I'm not going to be here all night, trust and believe, I do have shit to do, and I know y'all do too, but it was important for me to let y'all know what I found out. And I found out that the gas station in Columbia, South Carolina, is still in business by the same owner who's in jail for murder. Murder of a boy, a black boy, 14 years old. Like, what the fuck? And the community righteously and rightfully has questions because there's signs up all over the place that say under new management. And when you peel back the layers, you find out that it's the same management. And not only are they not answering the phone, because I called a bunch of times, but some of the numbers are not even in service anymore. So I think that it is up to people like me who are not in the area to maybe ask if people are in the area. Maybe y'all go over there and see what the fuck is going on. Because I know y'all see the signs. Y'all told me about the signs. Yes, okay, there's signs. But if you go in there and you get them, like, if you've been in me and Dwan's spaces recently, we've been telling you to pay attention to that. That that means something. You know, you might not have the vocabulary to put it in the right words, but something is off. And if you know something's off, you should do something. I think that the community can really do something about that gas station if they really feel like an injustice has happened. And if maybe you don't feel like an injustice has happened, then maybe Mr. Chow gets to continue to make money off y'all. And okay, that math, really, like, be who you say you are. If you're people who want change, change. You can't go out here thinking that you're going to do something the same way that things have been done and nothing has benefited from it. So many things have been said tonight. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and talk y'all's heads off all night. But I wanted you to know that it's past time to be bold. Dr. Khalid Muhammad's birthday was on Friday. I've been talking about him all weekend. I have Sunday school on Sunday. Every Sunday at 1 o'clock, I meet with children from across the country and we talk about our story. We talk about what's owed to us and we talk about who they are. Every Sunday. I mean, for the most part, my uncle died last year, so we didn't meet that Sunday. And then I worked on some stuff and I guess I didn't meet those Sundays either. But at the end of the day, our children, the minis, they're owed. And yeah, we're owed too, but at this point, it's not even about us anymore. Do you want them to be fighting the same fight that we're fighting? And if that's you, then okay, just get the fuck away from me because you're in my way. In a big way. Immortal, your hands back up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ed, but this is a really good space, and you touching on so many important things. And so you mentioned uh, oriented towards solutions, solution oriented. That's where I'm at with it. That's you as a pillar of my community, along with my brother. We might not look like much to y'all, but we really do hold down our community over here, myself and Conscious Outlaw. So this is free. This is free for anybody to take. All I ask is just don't dog my name. as you doing this at the same time. You heard me say it, and now you're doing it, and at the same. But don't dog my name as you do it. That's all I'm asking. And so solution oriented. We do need to take bold moves, and so that's why uh, uh, Conscious and I have decided to have an initiative, which is called the Martin Luther King Boulevard Initiative. Now, this extends to other boulevards, Malcolm X Boulevard, any boulevard that's named after one of our ancestors as a symbolic gesture, because you know they like to do symbolic gestures. So we starting with Martin Luther King Boulevard. Any business we ask in the community to go out of their way to frequent businesses that are Black American owned on Martin Luther King Boulevard, and to actively avoid businesses on Martin Luther King Boulevard that are not Black American owned. So that means, and we are caveat with this caveat, because I live in the Black community. I'm surrounded by Black folks right now. So I understand that I see so many of us walking. So I'm not going to go up to the one that's walking to the corner store, to the corner Arab store, and say, "Hey, what are you doing in here spending? What are you doing?" No, that person don't even have a car. They got to go get whatever they need from wherever they can get it, and they have us cornered like that. But what I can do is reach out to those of us who are riding up in nice whips. We pulling up on Dubs. We pulling up in a 2017 Jeep. You know, that ain't bad for working folks. We just working folks. So what we're asking them to do is avoid any business on the street of Martin Luther King Boulevard that is not Black owned, and go out of your way to visit and shop with Black American businesses on Martin Luther King Boulevard that are Black American owned.
I like that. I think that's an adequate solution to the symbolic gestures that they keep offering us. You know, painting Black Lives Matter on the ground when your Black life doesn't matter to them, when you can be murdered with impunity. I mean, that math don't math to me. The math ain't mathin'. You know, it's funny. My students, they tell me that that's not proper English. It's not, but I love how we can take our language and do what the fuck we want with it, and people understand what we're talking about. So, when the math ain't mathin', you need to do something about it. Did your mama raise a Hellraiser? I'm sorry. Did your mother raise a Hellraiser? And I'm sorry. Did your mother rear a Hellraiser? You see how? Okay, that was proper English for you. That was the English teacher in me. Anyway, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and soapbox all night. Tomorrow, I have some more thoughts. I really hope that you join me. But before you join me, Lioness, you're still on stage. I don't know if you had any closing thoughts, Dewan. I know you're driving, so I'm gonna let you, keep doing what you're doing. Immortal, thank you for coming through and speaking those words. Um, but
Yeah, can you hear me?
there you go. I can
Can you,
hear you.
okay, yeah, driving down to 110. Um, my closing thoughts really is just that everybody said some dope stuff. Look, keep it about the mission, keep pushing forward. And I think that was Joe. I wasn't looking at my phone earlier, but I think that was Joe that said, you gotta look at certain behaviors, and it's regardless of the face or the name of the person. They do certain things that's just some weirdo shit. You gotta be like, huh? You know what I mean? You got like you said, Eve. We gotta follow our own hunches. Watch how people move. Certain people, when you see them and how much you care about them, if they just do some outright weirdo shit, especially and it's not in alignment with just like when it's outside of just like what normal regular shit is, it's like look at the peep game and be like, okay, you know what I mean? That's what we have to be at all times, because you know some people start a certain way and they change. Other people, like as we're looking at with drawing a blank, the Panther. I'm drawing a blank. I'm driving. We see, he may have started a certain way, but if you look at somebody making dick pants, was he all? Motherfuckers know how to hide, and people can hide right in your face. You know what I mean? So just that's how it always is. And then people do change, all kinds of stuff that happen. But the one thing that doesn't change is your instincts and how you feel, and then watching just how patterns of how people move and how they treat people. Really, 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 really watch. You want to know something about a person? Watch how they treat the people who are around them the most. Look at how they treat people, and that's the definition of who they really are, in spite of how they say. And so, understand that and trust yourself. And yeah, we ain't here for none of that bullshit in 2024, but we are here to watch the shit happen and then take notes and then move on and keep doing what the hell we do.
Real talk. As always, I appreciate you supporting my spaces and coming through and sharing your thoughts. I think that the room always appreciates your thoughts, and they can show you by supporting the projects that you have coming up. I support his projects. I flew across the country. We flew across the country to be there for his opening night. That was really important to me. Y'all's projects are important to me. If you tell me about them and I see that you're a person who is and are who you say you are, you've got my support. And that's how I've always rolled until you're not who you say you are. I can appreciate the learning experience that every day is a new day, right? So if you didn't get it right today, you can try again tomorrow. If you're fortunate to make it to tomorrow, a lot of us are not fortunate to make it to the next day and you didn't get it right. Ah, that sucks, right? But while you're here, I think that we're supposed to do as much as we can do, and then tomorrow, do more. You should be judged by the things that you're doing. And of course, the things that you did, that matters too. But what'd you do today? And then what are your plans for tomorrow? A lot of us are not thinking about tomorrow because I guess we don't give a damn. But I do give a damn. Maybe it's because I got minis. I'm not saying that you got to go out here and make some minis before you got to care about tomorrow. But I am saying that if you don't care about tomorrow, that might be why you act the way you act. And you don't have to be like that. Maybe you don't know what's going on. So I will continue to try to tell y'all things that I find out, try to put it out in a big way. And if I'm around and I can do something in a big way, I will. I have and will continue to. And if you're there and you can do something, I expect you to, because you're here listening to me. What the fuck are you here for if you're not going to do something? Shout out to everybody in the room who's done something and who have plans to do something. Professor Black Truth tells us to run long, hard, and deep. And I really appreciate that man's message because when it comes to what's owed to us, you have to be consistent. And with 5 kids in private school and all the bills that come from all of that, we've consistently shown our support for our fight. You can look at our bank account and see where our money goes. And I think that that's the same for a lot of y'all. But you can do more. It's not just the money game as much as we're owed some money game, you know? Like you can make calls. You can send emails. If you need help, let me know. Lioness has done a lot with regards to helping people draft things. Don't hit her up because I'm not trying to flood her emails, but I will field for her as a sacrifice, I guess, for people who don't know how to word things if you want. Whatever. Raheem has also done that too. And I think that he's more accessible. I don't know. See if you can DM him. I don't know. To the room, I appreciate y'all's support. I know some of y'all were told not to be here. And to the anonymous listeners in the room, I'm glad you're here because what I have to say matters. And I'm going to continue to say things. Tomorrow night, like I said, I have some more thoughts. And I hope that you join me because I think that what we've been doing as a people, it matters. And you can see it in a big way. For example, The Color Purple, this movie that they tried to make this black empowerment bullshit musical or whatever, flopped. Like, it didn't make any money. It was like less than 10 people showed up at each theater, which really means that no people showed up at a lot of theaters. I think that's great. I think that that is a result of us saying that we don't support bullshit like that. Tomorrow, maybe we can have another conversation about how we can move the needle when we do things like that. Salute to the Black family.